It's Laura Eubanks of Design for Serenity, reporting from Claremont, California with your succulent tip of the day. And this is maintenance week. It's late fall and time for fall maintenance. This is a property, we ripped out a lawn and a tree and a lot of ugly and put in all these succulents about 2 years ago. I have done one maintenance on this garden, and that was about 9 or 10 months ago, I would say, just prior to a garden tour that it was featured on. So you can see the growth in this garden. It's crazy. There's a few things that I want to point out to you that are so helpful and so exciting. What I'm starting here, we put in this walk path of flagstones, but the hedge has grown so big that it's made the walk path obsolete. So we're just going to shift the path over. These Kalanchoe are done. They bloomed. Unfortunately, I don't see any pups, so these are going to be thrown in the bin, and I will place something else in its spot. There's an aloe cameronii behind this bird bath tube, right next to this Euphorbia millii that looks out of kilter now. It looked cute when I planted it. Now it just doesn't look right anymore, so I'm going to dig out the cameronii and move it to another place and just let the little millii own this space. And look at the Petalanthus bracteus. These have really run amok. Look at that. So what I'm going to do, how I'm going to handle this, there's a couple of ways. You can pull the whole thing out, cut off top parts, and stick top parts back in the ground, or you can lace out the plant. Now, I'm not so much offended by the height of these plants as I am the girth, and they're kind of run amucky, and they just don't look tight anymore. So I've decided that what I'm going to do is lace. So I will pull from the inside of the plant. I'll follow some of the run amucky branches all the way down to the base and cut. Now remember, this is in the Euphorbia family, and it does have that milky sap, which is an irritant. So you want to be careful not to get that in your eyes or on your skin. I'll set that aside. And I'm just going to keep going. You cut down as low as you can to the ground, never from the outside. See, someone tried and they cut branches from the outside, and what that leaves is these stumpy looking branches that are ugly. Always lace from inside the plant. That way your cuts don't show. So you got to get in there and take the branches from the inside. Now these pieces that I'm cutting, these are absolutely viable to propagate, and you can stick them in dry soil, and in time they will root and start brand new plants. So that's what I'm going to do with these. I'm just going to keep going with my lacing from the middle of the plant. I'll be stepping back from time to time and looking, and when I feel like I've got it back down to where I want it, I can walk away from it. The Portulacaria afravariegata. Boy, this is look, isn't this a beautiful ground cover? I mean, it does. It just covers so beautifully. A little too beautifully. See how it's growing over my boulder, and it's growing over my rubble. This is a plant that I trim like you would a traditional plant. I just cut this one back. So this is easy. But remember, from underneath, so that you don't see the cuts. If you cut from underneath, like this, then you can take the top growth and push it over the cuts so they don't show. That's kind of the secret behind handling this plant and keeping it looking good. Crassula undulata, we've talked about this and what a great succulent hedge it is. This is its natural growth habit, just a low ball. It's such a fantastic plant. And here's the difference between spent blooms and not spent blooms. Justice was asking earlier, see these on this cameronii, these are just coming into bloom. But on this ruticope, the blooms are done. See, the wood is just crackly, and this is all dead. So these blooms on the aloes can just simply be removed. Now's a good time also too to check for aloe mite. Rutacope has a tendency to be susceptible, and sure enough, I see some down inside that plant. See this canker here? That's aloe mite. That is fatal. This disease will eventually take out the whole plant, so this will have to be removed. So sad. Okay. Look at this tapestry. Look at this. Look how fabulous it is. Look at this echeveria. This was just one. This is a Sahara, and look at all the pups it's put out. Isn't that incredible? And again, to prune the blooms on these, you just go down as low as you can and trim. And we'll also, be cleaning up the understory leaves, all the spent stuff. Just pull that out. Easy, easy. Woo-wee. It's just so dense and beautiful. Here's the Xeriscape. This little parking strip area that I just did some simple things. This isn't irrigated. It doesn't get any additional rainwater. And you can see our agave blood spot has bloomed. This is a monocot, meaning that the mom is toast, but she has thrown off some beautiful pups. So we will pull her out, depup her, and then set the largest pup in her place to start the cycle all over again. More blooming Lucier. However, this mom has got some beautiful pups. Good looking. So when I pull this out, this pup can take her place in this arrangement. No problem. So it's a lot of deadheading, a lot of removing of the spent blooms, a lot of cleaning up and cleaning out. Look at this Paraguayense back here. How it's growing out onto the sidewalk. I don't hate that. It's not in the way, and I think it looks kind of neat. So I think I'm gonna leave that alone. So much of maintenance is subjective. It's about what looks good to you. See this cotyledon right here? How woody it's gotten. So you can see right down into the middle, and you see all the stems and the woodiness. So this, I will take the whole plant out and cut pieces off and reset this plant because I don't like that open, woody look. Let's check the back. This is Caliandra. The client wanted to keep this kind of for privacy. Look at what a hot mess. Gee whiz. Look at all this leaf, all this debris. Job security. Just take a minute to get this cleaned up and all these leaves dealt with. My big pots look spectacular. That's of course an aloe. We've got our Tiracali here, and some of you have been asking about this plant over the summer. Your Tiracalis are sticks on fire turned kind of green. This is a plant that colors up with cold, so this is going to be on fire probably in 1 to 2 months. Here's our mystery aloe ferox hybrid, looking gorgeous. The Podocarpus, also clients wanted to keep these. I didn't. Ugh, they're messy. I'm gonna have to trim them a little bit. And it looks like they're just inundated with mildew. Looks like powdery mildew and scale. So I'll apply a chemical drench or systemic to this plant. The jasmine is all gonna need cut back. There's a lot of weeds. So we'll pull all the weeds. The citrus, we are training onto the trellises, so we can work on that today. This is leaf miner. See that the damage on that leaf is caused by a little worm that travels through the leaf and causes that damage. It's not fatal, but it looks like crap. So what I typically do, because they're going to want to eat this fruit, I don't want to apply chemical pesticide, is I will just remove the worst damaged leaves. rather than apply a systemic to that. The Orgealis have been very, very happy in this garden. Again, the Petalanthus will want to clean that up and get rid of some of the errant branches. This Senecio Dakari, this is also run amok, but it's the easiest one in the world to fix. You just take pieces off of this plant, limb them up a little bit, and then this can be stuck right back in the ground. These do beautifully with that kind of cutting propagation. So this will be dug out and pieces will be set back into the ground. That's how we handle that plant. Take a look at this one over here. For whatever reason, you know, its microclimate did not support that rapid growth. See how compact it is? This is kind of the gold standard. This is what I want. I don't want this. This is run-amucky. I want this. It's compact. The neighbor's tree has caused and wreaked a lot of havoc too with detritus, so we'll have to clean up all of these leaves. Again, you know, pull all the little weeds. And yes, there is fabric down in here, which is just proof that just because you put down weed fabric doesn't mean you're not going to get weeds, because you are. This is an apple tree. It was just a baby when I planted it, and it's budding and looking really healthy, so I'll just give it a nice feeding today. And yeah, then I've got some gutters over here. Viv is working on the gutters on this side. We're just going to deadhead all the spent blooms and reset some cuttings into areas that that need it or that are dry or empty. Okay, that's our task. So we'll check in with you in a minute and let you see what we came up with at the end of the day. Okay, we're done. Took 4 of us about 4 hours to go through this garden. And I don't know if you can tell what we did, but we took a whole truckload of debris and detritus out of here. We laced out all the Petalanthus bracteus, reset the sticks on fire. I found 2 aloes with aloe mite and canker, so we disposed of those. We reset some rock. We reset the walk path. Over here, did a little resetting and tightening in these 2 fantastic tapestry areas. Added a little bit of fresh rock. Oh, and Greg also turned the water down for the winter. Now would be a good time to reset your irrigation. What was it set at, Greg?
3 days a week.
Oh, well, and you set it to?
Once a week.
Yeah, just once a week for a few minutes is all it's going to take to sustain this garden in the cooler months. We cleaned up all around the calandrinia. Calliandra, sorry. We didn't have to do anything with the big blue pots except pick up some detritus on the ground. I treated these podocarpus with a drench and cleaned them up. Sized up the jasmine too. Now's a good time to do that because this is an early spring, late winter bloomer. So cut back your jasmine now so that you don't cut off potential blooms in the spring. I also cleaned up the citrus trees. I want these to espalier. I want to train them on these trellises. So all of the branches that were pointing out this way, I snipped off so that we can keep this fan shape. I also treated all the citrus trees with an insecticidal soap to control what bugs I can control since I'm only here once a year. We reset, you can see that the Senecio Dakari are a lot shorter. We pulled these plants out and reset pieces in the ground. The orange puffs are now a lot smaller and more manageable. And Viv is in the process of setting cuttings into the gutters. We cleaned out all the detritus and all the errant plants and the dead stuff, and then we just took pieces of rosettes from around the garden, mostly in the front yard, to set into all the gaps. Cleaned out all of the detritus from this ficus tree in the neighbor's yard. Reset our rock ribbons. Oh my goodness, yeah, cleaned up all of the pots, deadheaded. You know, that's basically all we had to do. Tomorrow we are going to be somewhere else. So
Coronado.
oh, we're going to be back in Coronado tomorrow, so be sure and tune in then to see what we do with that maintenance. This has been Laura Eubanks with Greg, Justice, and Viv in Claremont with your seasonal maintenance and succulent tip of the day. Bye, guys.